I'm Lindsey, 26. Standing in the silent grand foyer of my grandfather's mansion, the air thick with the scent of lemon polish and cedarwood, I'm transported back to the moment that changed everything. The door to the outside world had just slammed shut behind my family, their angry words still ringing in my ears. "You're no longer our family," my father had roared, his face twisted with rage. And just like that, I was cast out, but I held onto the small brass key in my pocket, the key to this mansion, a symbol of my inheritance and a promise of a new beginning. 6 weeks ago, I was just an ordinary piano teacher, struggling to pay the rent on my cramped apartment. My days were filled with the sound of piano scales and the sight of clumsy beginner pieces, but I found joy in the small things, like the way a child's face would light up when they played their first song. My parents, though, never understood my passion. My father, Victor, a 55-year-old corporate executive obsessed with status and power, saw success only in high-paying jobs and social connections. My mother, Isabella, 52, was more concerned with maintaining her position in the upper-class social circles than with my well-being. And my brother, Max, 28, the spoiled golden child, always thought the world owed him something. One Tuesday evening, as I was grading practice sheets at my kitchen table, the phone rang. The number on the screen was unknown, and I almost didn't answer. But a gut feeling made me pick up. "Miss Lindsey," the heavy, official voice said. "This is Officer Thompson from the State Highway Patrol. I'm sorry to inform you that your grandfather, Arthur, was in a collision tonight. His vehicle was struck by a drunk driver. He didn't make it." The world around me blurred. My pen slipped from my hand, leaving an ink stain on the page. I couldn't believe it. Arthur, the only person who truly believed in me, was gone. The funeral was a nightmare of hypocrisy. The mansion, which had once been a sanctuary for me, became a stage for my family's greed. Victor barked at the funeral director over flower arrangements, while Isabella clutched her pearls and whispered about how a billionaire should have been more careful. Max leaned against a marble column, scrolling through his phone, sighing as if the whole event was an inconvenience. I stood near the casket, looking at Arthur's peaceful face, and whispered, "I'll make you proud, Grandpa. I promise." 2 weeks later, I received a call from Arthur's lawyer, Mr. Harris. His calm but firm voice said, "Lindsey, your grandfather's will is ready to be read. He requested your presence and that of your immediate family tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. at my office." Something in his tone made my stomach twist. The next morning, I stood outside Mr. Harris's office. The old converted Victorian house cast long shadows with its dark wood and stained glass windows. My palms were sweaty around the handle of my umbrella, even though it wasn't raining. Inside, the air smelled faintly of leather and coffee. Mr. Harris greeted me with a solemn smile. "Your grandfather spoke of you often. He was very proud of you," he said softly as he shook my hand. Before I could say more, the door burst open. Victor strode in, adjusting his expensive watch with a snap of his wrist. Isabella followed, her high heels clicking like gunshots against the hardwood floor. Max slouched in, wearing sunglasses indoors at 9 in the morning, his shirt half tucked and a smirk on his face. "Let's get this over with," Victor barked. "I built this empire, and as his only son, I'll be managing it now." Mr. Harris led us into a conference room with a long oak table. He cleared his throat, adjusted his glasses, and opened a thick leather folder. Arthur was of sound mind when he updated his will last year. There is no question of his capacity. Victor waved his hand impatiently. Yes. Read it." Then Mr. Harris began, "I, Arthur, being of sound mind and body, hereby declare this to be my final will and testament. To my beloved granddaughter, Lindsey, I leave the entirety of my estate, financial assets, real estate, investments, and holdings valued at approximately $7 billion. The words hung in the air like thunder. I froze, certain I had misheard. The room exploded. Victor shot to his feet, so fast his chair toppled backward. His face was crimson, veins bulging in his neck. "That's insane," He would never bypass me, he shouted. Isabella clutched the table as if it would save her from drowning. 7 billion to a girl who teaches piano? She doesn't know the first thing about handling money. Max ripped off his sunglasses and slammed his palm against the wood. Where's my cut? I need capital for my new startup. He promised me. Mr. Harris raised a hand calmly. Mr. Arthur anticipated this response. He made it clear that his decision was intentional. He stated that his son and daughter-in-law had been provided for during his lifetime and that he wished his fortune to pass solely to Lindsey. Victor's fists trembled. Lies. You manipulated him, Lindsey, didn't you? Whispered in his ear while he was old and confused. I shook my head, tears pricking my eyes. No, I didn't even know he was rewriting his will. I never asked him for anything. Mr. Harris reached for a remote and pressed a button. A large screen on the wall lit up, and there was Arthur, sitting in his familiar leather chair, hands folded, his voice calm but firm. Victor, Isabella, Max, I love you as family, but I can no longer ignore what you've become. Greed has blinded you. You see me as a wallet, not as a father or a grandfather. Lindsey is different. She visits because she cares, not because she wants. She lives with integrity. She will carry my legacy with dignity. Isabella gasped. Max muttered a curse under his breath, and Victor shouted at the screen. This is manipulation. But Mr. Harris's voice cut through the chaos. The will is legally binding. Contesting it will be expensive, and given the documentation, nearly impossible. That evening, I received a text from Victor. Come home 6 o'clock. We'll settle this as a family. It was an order, not a request. I almost didn't go, but a part of me hoped they just needed time to calm down. When I arrived, the house was eerily quiet. The living room looked like a boardroom. Victor stood by the fireplace, a tumbler of scotch in hand. Isabella perched on the edge of a designer chair, her eyes cold and sharp. Max sprawled across the sofa, laptop open, typing furiously. Sit, Victor commanded. I obeyed, my fingers clenched in my lap. You know what you need to do, Lindsey. Sign the estate over to me. I'll manage it properly. You'll receive a generous allowance, 10%. More money than you'll ever need. 10%? That's over $700 million, I echoed, my voice trembling. Isabella cut in smoothly. Enough to buy a mansion. Enough to live like a queen. You don't need the responsibility. Leave that to your father. Max slammed his laptop shut. 700 million is plenty. I need the rest for my company. Grandpa wanted me to succeed. Don't be selfish. Selfish. I whispered. Grandpa chose me because I wasn't like this. Because I didn't see him as a bank account. Victor's face hardened. He stepped closer, looming over me. This isn't about choice. It's about family loyalty. Either you sign or you walk out that door with nothing. Do you understand? I thought of Arthur, his laughter, his lessons about money, being just a tool. I thought of the way he smiled when I played the piano. I lifted my chin. No. The room erupted. Isabella shot to her feet, her voice shrill. You ungrateful little brat. After everything we've done for you, private schools, lessons, a roof over your head, you dare defy us? Max sneered. Enjoy being rich and alone. You'll come crawling back once you realize money can't hug you at night. But it was Victor's words that cut the deepest. His voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. If you walk out of this house tonight without signing, Lindsey, you are no longer my daughter. Don't come back. Don't call. Don't expect a single ounce of help. You'll be dead to us. I took a deep breath. I guess I've been dead to you for years. You never saw me. You only saw what you wanted. Victor's face twisted with fury. He grabbed my arm, yanking me toward the front door. Isabella followed, shouting orders. Pack a bag. 30 minutes. After that, the locks will be changed. I stumbled into my childhood bedroom, the walls still lined with old recital trophies and faded posters. My hands shook as I stuffed clothes into a duffel. I grabbed my passport, my grandmother's quilt, and the photo of Arthur and me at the piano. Everywhere I looked, I saw ghosts of the girl I used to be, of the family I thought I had. When I returned to the hallway, Victor was waiting, arms crossed, eyes cold. He opened the front door and gestured outward.
Out.
The night air was icy as I stepped onto the porch. My bags felt heavier than they were. Isabella's voice followed me out. You'll regret this, Lindsey. Money won't keep you warm. Family is forever. I turned, my voice steady despite the tears in my eyes. Then why did you just throw me away? The door slammed shut behind me. But I wasn't defeated. In my pocket was the small brass key to Arthur's mansion. The drive there felt longer than it was. My old sedan rattled along the dark road, headlights cutting through the mist. When the iron gates of the estate came into view, my chest tightened. They rose like sentinels against the night, tall and unyielding, with the family crest carved into the center. The key slid into the lock with surprising ease. The gates creaked open, and I drove up the winding driveway, lined with old oaks whose branches seemed to bow in welcome. When the mansion came into view, my breath caught. Its windows glowed softly, as though the house itself had been waiting. I parked in the circular drive and climbed the steps to the front door. My hand trembled as I turned the key. The lock clicked, the door swung open, and the familiar scent hit me. Miss Lindsey, a voice said from the shadows. A tall man with silver, streaked hair dressed in a neatly pressed uniform emerged. It was Mr. Stevens, Arthur's longtime butler. I've been with your grandfather for over 25 years, and now, I suppose I'm with you, he said with a faint smile. I was overwhelmed with emotions. I thought everyone would be gone. I thought I'd be alone. Mr. Stevens shook his head firmly. Mr. Arthur anticipated trouble. He told me if anything happened, I was to protect you. You are the true heir. He left detailed instructions. Mr. Stevens led me into the study where the fire was already crackling. I keep the house running. Your grandfather insisted it remain ready no matter what. He said one day you might need sanctuary here. I sank into a leather chair, the flames warming my chilled skin. The next morning, Mr. Harris arrived with a group of people. There was Mrs. Jenkins, Arthur's 55-year-old housekeeper, who had kept journals that proved why Arthur had chosen me. There was Mr. Lopez, Arthur's 60-year-old business partner, who knew the company inside out and was there to help me understand it. And there were others like Mr. Singh, the investment advisor, and Mr. Gomez, the estate manager. They all explained what Arthur had done to prepare for this moment. He had built a wall of protection around me. As I listened to them, I realized that I wasn't just inheriting money. I was inheriting lives, a legacy. A few days later, my family returned. The morning air was heavy, almost electric, as though the world itself was bracing for a storm. Mr. Stevens stood near the front door, shoulders squared like a soldier awaiting battle. The mansion was alive with my allies. My family burst in like a flood. Victor led the charge, his face red and veins bulging. Isabella swept in behind him, lips pursed in disdain. Max dragged his feet, but his eyes burned with greed. This is still our house, Victor barked. You have no right to shut us out. I stood tall, though my knees trembled. Grandpa gave this to me. Legally, morally, every way that matters. Max sneered. Don't play innocent. You manipulated him. He wasn't thinking straight. Mr. Harris rose calmly, holding up a folder. Actually, Arthur anticipated these accusations. He left written and video statements clarifying that Lindsey was of sound character and that his decision was deliberate. Contesting this would be futile. Victor snatched the folder, flipping pages furiously. Fabricated, he spat. But then, Judge Miller, a family friend whom Arthur had asked to oversee any disputes, stepped forward. These documents, this evidence, it's airtight. You won't win. The color drained from Victor's face, but rage quickly replaced fear. He jabbed a finger at me. Ungrateful brat. You're tearing this family apart. I swallowed hard, my voice trembling but firm. No, you did that long ago when you chose money over love. Mrs. Jenkins emerged quietly from the side, holding a small box. Actually, Mrs. Victor, Your daughter belongs here more than anyone. These are journals your mother-in-law kept. They prove exactly why Arthur made his choice. Isabella froze as Mrs. Jenkins handed the box to Mr. Harris. He pulled out a page and read aloud. Victor demanded money again. When we refused, he shouted that we were stingy. Lindsey came later with soup and stayed until my husband's fever broke. Max suddenly lunged forward, slamming his hands on the table. Enough. We don't care about your stupid journals. Just sign the transfer. I need capital for my new platform. Mr. Lopez's voice cut sharp as glass. He already gave you chances, Max, multiple failed ventures, each one burning through money. Your grandfather refused for a reason, because you never earned it. Max's face turned crimson. He turned on me. You think you're better than me? You'll choke under this pressure. You'll come begging for help. I stood straighter, fire rising in my chest. No, Max. For the first time, I'm not the one begging. Victor exploded, sweeping documents off the table. This is garbage. None of this changes the truth. This fortune is mine by right. Judge Miller thundered. Your father's will is law. You have no claim, Victor. And then Mr. Gomez stepped forward, holding a USB drive. Mr. Arthur had me install new security cameras last year. They recorded something you should see. Mr. Harris plugged it into Mr. Lopez's laptop. Footage flickered to life on the screen, showing Victor, Isabella, and Max rifling through drawers in the mansion days after the funeral, stuffing jewelry and documents into bags. Isabella gasped. That's taken out of context. But the police chief, who had slipped in quietly through the back, stepped forward, arms crossed. Context won't matter in court. Theft is theft. You're one step away from handcuffs. For the first time, Victor faltered. His bluster shrank, shoulders sagging. Isabella's hands shook. Max cursed under his breath, backing away from the screen. I seized the moment. I'm done being afraid of you. Grandpa trusted me. You can threaten, scream, steal, but you'll never take his legacy. Not from me. Victor's voice, broken and venomous, said, If you walk this path, Lindsey, you are no longer part of this family. I met his eyes steady. You made that choice the moment you tried to destroy me. They turned one by one and stormed out. The mansion seemed to exhale. After they left, the house was eerily quiet. But I didn't feel defeated. I knew I had stood my ground. In the following days, I worked hard with Mr. Harris, Mr. Lopez, and the others to manage the estate and the company. 3 months later, the Arthur Foundation for Education and Community was launched. We dedicated $2 billion to scholarships, schools, and local programs. On a crisp autumn morning, I drove to the cemetery alone. I carried a bouquet of white lilies, Arthur's favorite. Kneeling beside his grave, I whispered, Hi, Grandpa. I hope you can see me. I hope you're proud. I'm trying my best. That night, as I sat at the grand piano in the mansion, my fingers moving across the keys, I felt a peace I hadn't felt in a long time. I had built something new, a family of choice, and a mission bigger than myself. And I knew this was only the beginning. The true inheritance wasn't the $7 billion. It was the fire inside me, the determination to live with integrity and to carry forward Arthur's legacy.